Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Week 6 recap of the Mason and Garess show. I am. Ma- Wait, it's
Mason
the
Gresham.
Mason and Garess show. Welcome to the Mason Garess show, and I'm just here. Welcome to the Gomez and Garess show. We're keeping that in, I don't care. I am Gomez, and that is obviously,
I'm Grace.
yep.
Oh,
And
this starts the show apparently.
we're off to a rough start already, but you know what? That's okay. That's what makes us different from everybody else. Okay, week 6 of the NFL. Kind of all over the place. Not a lot of close games this week. Um, yeah, definitely not the most exciting week of football. Besides the primetime games.
And the Panthers. I said Panthers and Vikings is a good game.
Yeah, you could also say that the
Another
Dolphins and
overtime game.
Jags was a good game too, but you know.
But who's really gonna say that?
Jags fans. They
Are
exist.
there any?
They're out there somewhere. Just gotta look really hard. Um, so we're just gonna jump right into this. First game of week 6. I think it was another London game. The Dolphins at Jags. Jags going on to win the game 23-20. They snap their 20-game losing streak in London, of all places. Might be their future home in a couple of years. You never know. Um,
Wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised. They are pitiful.
Good there.
Um, some fun facts from the Dolphins and Jags game. Tua came back from his injury. He looked pretty solid. He threw for 2 touchdowns and a pick, and over 300 yards. So he looked pretty good. I guess I was just being ignorant last week when I compared Jacoby Brissett and Tua. I don't know though. I feel like Jacoby could put up the same amount of yards and touchdowns and picks. So I don't know. Um, I'm not impressed. Um, Trevor Lawrence didn't have any turnovers in this game as well. Mm. Um, and Urban Meyer, he's like this Carlos Hyde Ohio State thing, not happening. They actually fed the rock to James Robinson, and Robinson made the best out of it. 17 carries, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Anything to say from this game, Mason?
Lawrence gets his first win in the pros.
Yeah,
And honestly, we should have kind of expected Jacksonville to win because they do actually have very good stats in London. I jokingly serious though, I wouldn't be surprised if they do move there.
it's realistic.
Like it would not actually surprise me.
They can only win in London, it seems like.
I just don't think the NFL would allow a team to actually be located anywhere outside the US, like full time.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work because that's a huge advantage for the home team. Um,
Hmm.
but also at the same time, like they most of theirs, I guess, I don't want to get into it, but
Yeah,
yeah,
you're not wrong
there
about
just
that.
be a lot to it. Um, so in this game, I chose the Dolphins, and I'm pretty sure Mason chose the Dolphins as well to
Yep.
win, and we were wrong. Um, all right, and into the next one, the Chiefs at the Washington football team won 31-13. Patrick Mahomes in double digit interceptions already. So that's interesting. As well as he's on pace to throw 23 interceptions this year. Um, that
It's insane for him.
it's nutty. He's not playing like himself. And you can blame it on a lot of things, but a lot of the ones that you see are the ones that just don't make any sense. Um, let's see. The Chiefs secondary allowed 72 yards in coverage and a TD. So one of their more better games is a secondary this season. And then Heineke just looked awful. You have anything to add?
Um, while watching other games, I did see a little bit of clips from that game. I was kind of surprised how Kansas City, though they did with the game, they kept it a lot closer than they should have. Back and forth. I mean, and they honestly had this score kind of, I don't know, come from behind a little bit. Like it was kind of surprising against a Washington team. Good D line, but that's really all they're known for. But they kind of struggled, even getting things back together. They still struggled in a game like that.
Yeah, it seems like that game was close up until the fourth quarter. The Chiefs just scored 14
Hmm.
points in the fourth quarter. Interesting.
I mean,
Yeah,
props for them for winning, but they shouldn't have been that close.
yeah, that's a game where I think Chiefs play another bad team down the road and they just lose because they just made too many mistakes. Would not be surprised if that happens
Agreed.
again. All right. All right, so on to the next game is the LA Rams at the New York Giants. I think I said that the Rams would have won by 60, but they couldn't muster 60 points. So, that's all right. They did win 38-11. Um, what do you have to say about this game, Mason?
Rams. Yeah, no, I expect the Rams to be a pretty good team this year. Who they play again? Remind me.
The Rams play the Giants.
Yeah, I kind of expect the Rams to do well. I'm surprised that Matt Stafford's not really in the MVP conversation as much as I expected him to be. I don't really see anyone talk about him being there. I
Said
kind of expected him to put up better numbers this year to be there.
okay. Um,
I'm just saying, like, I mean, he's not doing bad, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, I don't really hear anyone say anything about it. So it makes me wonder
it's pretty
how much better he
interesting.
could actually be or what.
Right. Um, I will say though about Matthew Stafford, 16 of his throws were for first downs, which is very
Pretty
impressive.
incredible.
Um, I mean, that's 10 yards a throw, so that's
Yeah.
160 yards just off of that. Sony Michelle, I've noticed he's been a great addition for the Rams offense. Ever since what's his face towards ACL earlier this year. Oh, who's
Acres.
yeah, Cam Akers, right?
Yep.
Yep, yeah. So, yeah, Sony Michelle always been a solid back, but he's been complimenting um, Henderson on the Rams fairly well. They combined for 120 yards on 30 attempts. So, 15. Oh gosh, I don't want to do math, but like 15 carries, 60 yards each. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And then I love this little fun fact. So there were 10 defensive linemen that played for the Rams, and each one of them recorded a pressure. That I just thought that was funny.
Dang.
Yeah, no matter who you
That's
put
good
in
depth.
there, yeah, that is really good depth. Um, I just thought it was really impressive. And it seems like the only bright spot about the Giants' offense so far this season has been Kadarius Tooney or Tony.
Yeah.
Really, really solid the last 3 weeks. He has yet to record a touchdown, but you really can't blame him because he can only do so much with what he's given, and just can't really score touchdowns when you're turning the ball over so frequently. Do you have anything to add uh, more to this game?
I mean, I just, I just hope the Ram or the Giants get it together. I mean, I don't think they're that bad of a team, but
Mm-hmm.
they just kind of look like one of the barrel teams this year, and I don't really foresee that changing.
It'll be interesting to see what the Rams do later. Um, especially with Matthew Stafford and how strong his arm will be down the stretch. All right, next
Yeah.
game. Texans visited the Colts. Colts destroyed these poor Texans 31-3. Not really much to say about this game. Carson Wentz was almost perfect. Um, the running game wasn't as strong as it was last week, but it was enough for them to have time of possession and help them run the clock down. Um, yeah, I don't have much to say about this game. What about you?
Taylor is actually top 5 for rushing this year. Jonathan Taylor is.
Really?
Yeah, he's number 5 on the list. I'd also add to this game Paris Campbell going on the IR, which he had a pretty good game, so it's kind of sad. And then I don't remember if it happened before or after the game, but the Texans did cut Whitney Merciless,
Like
which
that was
he's been
after.
there for a
Yeah,
while.
for his almost his whole career, which is crazy.
I think he was there his whole career, but apparently the Chiefs have interest in him, so we'll see where he goes.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what he does.
I'm sure
Are,
he'll go to a contender of some extent.
is he still good?
I don't know if he's like great, but I would think a decent rotational guy, at least on a contending team.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess it'd be nice
Come in
depth.
as a come in, yeah. He'd be good with the Broncos, right?
I guess. Unfortunately,
As a rotational backup, I don't think they could. I don't think it'd be a big deal. Be pretty good.
no. Clay Matthews is still out there somewhere. He's just waiting.
Yeah, I think he's retired.
All right, on to the next game. The Bengals went to Detroit and massacred these poor Lions 34-11. Jamar Chase is looking fantastic each game. Almost hit 100 yards this game. He was only 3 yards off. And then that fun story line coming from Detroit, the head coach calling out Matthew Stafford. He goes, quote, I feel like Goff needs to step up more than he has. Um, and in that game, Goff was 20 for 42, 202 yards, and a pick. What are your thoughts on that?
Feel bad for Golf. I hope he gets it together and they win a couple of games. But Cincinnati is a underrated team. I'm intrigued to see how they play the Ravens this week. To be honest, it's going to be a good matchup.
Oh, the humble king. Jeez. All right, we're gonna move on to a fun matchup here, the NFC North. Yeah, the Green Bay Packers taking on the Bears. Green Bay going on to beat the Bears 24-14. Aaron Rodgers probably had the most quotable thing happen in that game, and he goes, "I still own you to a Chicago crowd" after he scored a touchdown. That is without the cursing, of course. But it's just funny to see those veteran quarterbacks be cocky. What are your thoughts on that?
you you know why he did that, right? Though
Because he owns the
you know why?
Bears. 20. He is.
No, it was because a bunch of fans were flipping him off,
Oh, well, that doesn't sound
and
as
he
fun.
he figured he would just let them know.
Dang.
I mean, honestly, I think as long as Rodgers is there, it's going to be in favor of Green Bay when the Bears they play. Fields is not a bad player. He's developing pretty nicely, but Rodgers is a good quarterback. And as long as he's going to continue to be relatively good, they're going to win games.
There is
I
another
mean, it'll
good.
come down to the offensive line, really, I think, too,
Right.
as long as they're holding up.
Um, I will say there's another good rookie in Chicago right now, and it's their running back,
So,
Khalil
running back,
Herbert.
yeah.
He had 19 carries for 97 yards and a touchdown. His first ever touchdown in the National Football League. Good on you, kid. Um, yeah, so it seems like they kind of found a gem in the. I don't know though. Running backs are a lot easier to find now than it's ever been. I feel like so. But to see a rookie at that level already and getting those kinds of yards is always fun.
I think
Um,
a lot of it's situational, though, to be honest,
all right,
because you lost two starters to injury, and then Damian Williams was put on COVID, and it's like, okay, well, someone's got to run the ball, so
right,
it's one of those things where you either screw up and you're basically probably back of the roster for the rest of your potentially the rest of your career, or you shine and get the opportunities.
right. Um, I guess it is. It's pretty fun seeing those people make the best out of those opportunities. Even
Yes.
like a washed-up veteran. And then him just coming
Yep.
out of nowhere, like No Sean or not No Sean. Willis McGahee. Everybody thought he
Yep.
was done,
When he
and
went to
then
Denver.
the last couple of years in Denver, he was really good. Um, he retired a Bronco in my heart, uh, as he deserved. Um,
I don't think he did though.
I don't know. I think so. Also, fun fact: Robert Quinn and Khalil Mack both had a sack on Rodgers. So good on them. Get to add that number 12 to the sack wall. Sack
Yeah.
wall and yeah. Okay. Well, um,
Okay.
so this
That's
next
good.
game, we're moving on. This next game is the Chargers at the Ravens. Chargers losing 6-34. Mason, I'm sure you have a lot to say about this, so I'll just let you take over.
I mean, I'm just kind of surprised how that game went. I expected a close game. And the Ravens actually played their best defensive game the entire year. Their defense looked great, with Herbert being an MVP candidate, and he was kind of taken out of it. They didn't get beat by too many screens, which they've been susceptible to all year. Uh, and just honestly, I was impressed with the run game. All of their backups that were basically just put on the the uh the running back group's nickname is Throwback Thursday, the Throwback Thursday group, because they would have all been good in 2015 and 2017. They would have been Pro Bowlers at that point, and now they're starting and are playing, and it's kind of like you guys are like probably gonna retire next year type of deal. But it's cool to see them all get a touchdown.
Right.
Now Young got added to the active roster. Uh, I don't know, like I mean, I'm pretty impressed with how it went against. I would say probably the second best team in the AFC before this weekend.
Yeah. I'm definitely not expecting Justin Herbert and that offense to not really do anything. I definitely paid for it in fantasy football this week. Um, yeah, I guess it's kind of shocking when the Chargers play a good offense. Their defense just they just push over. Um, but yeah,
One
impressive
more thing
win.
too to add about the Ravens, then was the Stanley officially going on the IR ending his season this year,
Mm-hmm.
which is unfortunate. But he hadn't played since week one.
Right.
Clearly wasn't himself, so he's having ankle surgery again.
Yikes.
So best of luck, and hopefully he comes back like a
Speedy
very good player.
recovery. That can't be easy.
No, because that's back-to-back years he's been lost in injury.
Damn. Well, maybe it'll be different this time around.
Hopefully,
All right. This next game is a game I'm glad I picked correctly. The Vikings at the Panthers. Vikings beating the Panthers in overtime 34-28. Kirk Cousins did okay. He was 32 for 49, and he aired it out for three times. That got him three TDs, so solid outing for Kirk Cousins.
yeah.
Dalvin Cook looked pretty healthy and pretty fast. Had 33 carries for almost 150 yards, and a touchdown. So Dalvin Cook seems to be back. Sam Darnold, not looking great either. 18 for 45, 209 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Um, The only bright spot in that offense lately has been Chuba Hubbard. Oh,
Chuba Hubbard. Yeah.
yep. And recorded his first career touchdown this weekend as well. So we have two rookies scoring their first career touchdowns. And the Panthers' offensive line allowed 14 pressures and 5 sacks. So not great.
Not ideal.
What do you have to say about this game?
I kind of feel like as far as the Panthers, it's gonna be reliant on how their offense plays, especially Darnold. Their defense is one of the best in the league, honestly, as far as pass rush and overall talent. It's really gonna be how their offense and Darnold play. The Vikings, happy to see them get a win. They definitely deserve a few of those this year. So glad to see they could pull it off in overtime. And got to give some credit to Cousins because a lot of people do give him a lot of crap and say that he's average. And
Mm,
he's been in the league for a decent amount of time, so you got to give him credit for that too.
yeah. Definitely a top 10 quarterback in the league right now, I'd say. Um,
I'd say he's up there.
yeah, definitely not awful. He did have a bad history of having turnovers in the worst spots, but not so turnover happy this year. It's just been the Vikings defense getting in the way of a victory. All right. Moving on to the next game, the Cardinals visited the Browns in Cleveland, smacked them up 37-14. Um, they won the game without their head coach even being there. Um, Kareem Hunt left the game early with an injury as well. Um, and Baker Mayfield was sacked 5 times. He is just getting pounded, and it's weird how ineffective a offense can be without um, a decent running game. And I guess they kind of worst thing happened to them. They lost their two like starter worthy running backs. Now they're bare bones at that
hmm
position now. What do you have to say about this game?
It looks like both our running backs are going to be in IR, if not missing time. I know neither are going to play this Thursday. Baker said he's playing, but I'd have to think he's not at full health. They also lost their first round pick. He's on the IR. Just overall, I don't know. The Browns, I feel like if they have to rely on Baker at quarterback, I just question them. If they rely on their run game, they're a completely different team. And
Right.
Arizona, I'm not too surprised. I expect them to struggle a little bit without their coach, but Arizona is one of the best teams in the league. So, and Kyler, if they continue this, is going to win the MVP.
Right.
I'd be shocked if he didn't win the MVP and they continue this trend. Also, I would say it's kind of surprising with the sacks and pressures. They didn't have Chandler Jones
Yeah.
because he was on COVID. So I mean, that's kind of surprising.
Yeah. That
JJ
line
Watt's
putting in
turning
some
back the
work.
clock.
That's only 2 games against weak offensive line right now. Um,
And it's cool to see. I mean, honestly,
yeah, I mean it is a fun story for sure. JJ Watt making a comeback. He just needed a change of scenery. All right, a game I really don't want to talk about, but it has to happen anyways. Raiders went into Denver, beating the Broncos 34-24. Derrick Carr played out of his mind. I don't know what it is, if he just hates the colors orange and blue, or he just hates horses, or what. But whenever he comes into Denver, he has to play decent, and it's the most frustrating thing in the world because you see him play bad everywhere else. But that's fine. He was 18 for 27, had 341 yards and 2 touchdowns. Teddy couldn't hit a wide open receiver at all. There was a specific play where Teddy had time in the pocket. Cortland Sutton had nobody covering him, and Teddy just overthrew him. And then there was another play where Cortland Sutton was running down the sideline, had 2 steps in front of his guy, and Teddy overthrew him still. So Teddy Magic is kind of wearing on me now. He's starting to not look so hot. Um, he did have, I think it was 3 touchdowns and 3 picks. He's thrown 5 picks in his last 2 games, which is not good at all. Um, However, the O line didn't help him that much either. He had 13 pressures and he was sacked 5 times, so that will rattle your cage. Um, but in brighter news, Josh Jacobs only averaged 3 I think it was 3 yards a carry that game. So the D line putting in some work. And Pat Surtain, lone bright spot in the secondary against the Raiders, and he was responsible for the only incompletion in the secondary, and he allowed a passer rating of 62.5. So, rough last couple of games, but definitely made up for it here. Yeah.
I definitely was surprised that the Raiders were able to win that. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't expect it with the coaching change that they would kind of just be a wreck.
Maybe Jay
But
Gruden was holding them back this whole time.
John John Gruden,
What'd I say?
Jay, his brother. You never know. I mean, maybe he's holding them back too. But I don't know. Denver's a good team. They'll get it together. I wouldn't be surprised if they're still a playoff team, and especially with Kansas City kind of like still not completely back to it. That helps them. And the Raiders aren't like a complete team either. They're gonna screw up down the line.
Um.
I definitely wouldn't be surprised if Denver still wins the division. There's a chance.
Oh, what was I gonna say? I
Sorry, I went on a rant with the AFC West.
Oh man, I can't remember what I was gonna say. It was gonna be interesting, but I forgot. So that's fine. All right, so yeah, Broncos lost. We'll be back against the Browns. We'll be fine. Oh yeah, no. What I was gonna say was Von Miller sent out a tweet today saying, "I don't know
Oh
who
yeah.
the left tackle is for the Browns, but I'm going to destroy him," or something like that. I'm like, Vaughn,
Hmm.
you gotta back that up, dude. That's just sends chills down your spine. Oh, how are you feeling as that left tackle for the Browns? You're just like, oh, okay, bring it on, I
I'd
guess.
have to imagine as an NFL player, you gotta be semi cocky and like being like, okay, bring it. But I also feel like part of you is kind of like, shit, I just got called up by Von Miller.
Yeah,
Like I feel like there's a bit of mixed emotions there.
yeah, especially if if he's a younger guy, grew up watching Von Miller, and your tweets
Well,
that
I
you
knew it used
saying,
to be Jedrick Willis, but I think he got injured, so I think it's kind of a backup practice squad borderline guy.
yeah, probably a younger dude. All right. Moving on to the next game, one of the more closer games on Sunday's docket was the Cowboys beating the Patriots 35-29. Dak having another insane game, 36 for 51, 445 yards, 3 TDs, and a pick. Zeke and Pollard, they averaged 4 yards a carry. They just seem like a really good duo. Really, really effective. And then Trayvon, his streak continues. We will watch that with great interest. Um,
Yeah,
and it seems
it's
like
impressive stuff.
uh, the Patriots didn't unleash Mac Jones near the end of the game. Um, so he throws a pick six, and then the next drive he throws a touchdown. So then there's an opportunity at the end of the game before it goes, I think, into overtime, and the Patriots were just conservative and just ran out the clock. Um, So he was pretty frustrated about that, and I just think the team is just too conservative. It's not as aggressive as it should be. Um, what are your thoughts?
And that might come down to too, just being a rookie. They don't want to put too much pressure on him right now.
Right.
Because to be fair, the Patriots aren't like that complete of a team. Like they're kind of missing some stuff. Maybe they just don't want the pressure to be on him. Kind of want to wait to build some stuff around him, I guess, and take it slow.
I don't know. I mean, Mac Jones is a national champion in college football. He's been in stressful situations before. I think
Yeah,
you
but
give the young
you'd
guy
argue
a
the NFL
chance.
is way different.
You
I don't know. I
you
just feel like he's never dealt with much when it comes to the NFL. Like
I don't know. I
I don't
think
know. I feel like to me the NFL and college is like completely different.
yeah, they're different speeds,
But
but a lot of it's pretty similar.
Patriots, who they match up against again? Sorry,
Uh
I missed that.
oh my gosh. The
Oh, dang.
Cowboys matched up against the Cowboys.
Cowboys. Yeah, no, that was if I remember it, a relatively close game, but yeah, Diggs is incredible this year. I really do hope he kind of breaks the record. I mean, it'd be cool to see that.
Right.
I think if that record, he's like the go-to defense player of the year too. It'd be hard to go against that.
Right. Um
But I expected, the Cowboys to be the better team, and they're way better this year than last year, and their defense is incredible for the most part.
it yeah,
And
it's
CeeDee Lamb, you gotta be impressed with him too, honestly.
yeah, I'm just surprised at how big a difference Dak is to the Cowboys offense. It is crazy big. They're
Yeah, that's true.
totally different team. Okay. Um next game is the Seahawks at the Steelers. Mason, do you want to talk about this game?
Uh, kind of expected Steelers to win, so that didn't surprise me too much. Yeah, Seattle with Geno Smith just isn't the same as Russell Wilson. And then you lose the running back, and overall, that offense was never like a top tier offense, in my opinion. Aside from Russell Wilson, you don't have a lot going on there. I mean, you take out the two best players basically, outside of DK.
Right.
I mean, DK is not the same either. He's freaking fighting with Shannon Sharp, so he's not together either. I don't know. I mean, Pittsburgh literally just needs to rely on Najee Harris and literally run the ball. Big Ben needs to be conservative, but do what he has to do. I think Najee Harris is still very much in the Offensive Player of the Year running. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Seattle goes after Cam Newton. I mean,
Uh,
I know they've only had talks, but I,
I
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think you stick with the boy Geno Smith. He will lead you to the promised land.
I
He's
do
had,
not think that's
yes,
going to happen.
two opportunities to win the game for Seattle, but you have to give this is his first start in like 5 years. He probably had butterflies in his stomach and just wasn't ready yet. I don't know. All I know is Geno Smith can win. He'll be fine. If anything, hearing that they were talking to Cam Newton lights a fire inside of him
Hopefully.
and
I wish him
leads
the
the
best, yeah.
Seahawks to the Super Bowl and then proceed to
I
lose,
don't think
and
so.
then that's fine.
That's
Um,
a little too much.
but
You
yeah,
went from, yeah, I'm on board to, where are you going?
they're going straight to the moon.
Yeah, I don't think so. I say at best he manages the game well enough to get them some wins, and then Russ comes back and they get to be a good team for the playoffs. But I still don't think I think that Cam is a possibility within the next week or so because I think Russ is out for 6 weeks. I think I read
Minimum four
4 to
weeks.
6 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if they inquire about Cam because he's a similar skill set to Russ.
fair.
But you
Um,
got to get him up to speed too. So I mean, they got to make a decision like right away.
I just feel like Pete Carroll's offense is very much inspired by how he ran stuff in USC, but I don't know. Who knows how
Makes
different
sense.
it is. Uh, all right. On to the probably the best game that happened uh during week 6, Monday Night Football. Bills in Tennessee losing to the Titans 31-34. Derrick Henry, I have now learned to never pick against Derrick Henry. Um, if this means I have to choose
You'll
the
still probably
Titans
do it this week.
every single week, I guess I'll have to because he. Oh, this is great. Uh, he in 2 straight games he's had over 130 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. Derrick Henry is on pace to break Eric Dickerson's single season rushing record. But like I was telling you earlier, he is also on pace to have over 300 carries in the NFL this season. Um, and I think he's also supposed to have 400 receiving yards as well. Um, so
That's
I
impressive.
was I was listening to this radio broadcast last night on my way from work, and he put into perspective like you as a person. Um, how would your body feel the next day after taking 1 rep as a professional football player, as a running back? And for Derrick Henry to have over 300 reps for over 2,000 yards, imagine like how your body, like what shape it would be in. And of course, these dudes they train for this kind of thing, but like your body still takes a beating. Over 300 carries is insane, unheard of. I think that would be the most ever in NFL history, if not super close. I don't know if there's a record for it. I feel like there has to be. And Tannehill also was pretty underwhelming. Um, I guess that's just been his persona this season. Just underwhelming, not really, you know, uh, just not making big plays, except for that one play when he just tossed the ball down the field and Julio Jones caught the football off of somebody's head. Um, but that's a
That was
Julio
awesome.
thing. Yeah, that's a Julio thing.
Yeah,
Um,
Julio is good at stuff like that. You're just like, how did you do that?
and I heard and I saw a couple of calls that they made on offense, like when they were in the red zone and they went for it on 4th down when they could have tied it. I don't know. A lot of questionable calls. I guess you have that much confidence in your O line. Sure, but I guess in that case, oh my gosh, you go for the tie. What are your thoughts, Mason?
I was kind of surprised. I mean, I was surprised that Buffalo won or lost in general because I thought they were the most complete team relatively in the AFC. Was very surprised to find out that when I was working last night, to find out that they lost. I was like, how?
Right.
Like, I don't think Tennessee's a bad team. Like, as far I don't like Tennessee, but I don't think they're like that bad. They're a competitive team, borderline playoffs, probably the best in their division. But outside of the running back, it's a little questionable how they'll get together. I mean, the good receivers and stuff, but
Right.
I mean, the general surprise. I mean, to answer your question too, Gomez, real quick, the most attempts in NFL history per season is Larry Johnson in 2006 at 416 attempts.
Oh my god. That is
And actually,
so
Derrick
many
Henry's current record right now is last year. He had 378 attempts, and that's 19th on the all-time list, basically, like per season.
That is crazy.
There's,
And he's getting paid less than
there's
Christian McCaffrey.
yeah, and there's 5 backs in NFL history that have had more than 500 or more than 400 attempts in a season.
Man. Pay Derrick Henry. Better yet, Derrick Henry goes somewhere where you can win and not be one and done in the playoffs. All right.
It's actually super surprising. 300 attempts isn't actually that uncommon.
Really?
Yeah, there's actually, I'm looking at the list now. There is, Jesus, over 230 backs in NFL history that have had over 300 attempts in a season.
But how many were as consistent as Derrick Henry has been, though?
Well, I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm just saying, like, I just have the list of attempts who have had over 300 attempts, and it's over 230.
It's a lot of
I'd argue that some guys towards the top of the list, like, I mean, Eric Dickerson and Eddie George were good. Terrell Davis,
TD.
like, some of these guys are, pretty successful, but I'd imagine some of them are not most successful. Another interesting thing too, unfortunately, about that game is Farley's done for the year, the rookie corner,
Yep.
tore his ACL.
Yeah, I did see that too. Very sad. Um,
I feel
hopefully,
like injuries might actually be on the rise this year compared to previous years.
well, you definitely so you added an extra game to the regular season. Um, I I guess,
But that hasn't really taken effect if you think about it.
but also only having three preseason games. I mean, I don't
Should
know.
have helped.
Yeah, I don't know at this point if like their bodies are still warming up because you're 6 weeks into the season. But I mean, there's also those players that are constantly being signed out of free agency that haven't really been in football shape in a minute or something, you know. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
really don't know. Um. All right. Anything else to add to the Bills and Titans game?
I would expect Buffalo to get it on track going forward. They'll be back. It's just one of those games where, maybe they underestimated their opponent a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that could be it too. But I expect Buffalo to rebound, probably even this week right away.
Uh. Oh, and Knox. That my
Oh yeah, he
fantasy
broke
tight
his
end,
hand, I
dude.
think
Yeah, he
too.
broke his hand. So I don't know how
But
long.
they said he'd only be out for like a week or two, honestly, is what I read.
I looked up broken hand on Google and they they pointed me to Dawson Knox.
Jesus.
They're listening, Big Brother is
Someone was
listening.
saying he was the first tight end to throw a touchdown pass with a broken hand or something.
That's impressive.
I don't know if he was injured when he did that, but if it is, that's incredible. Almost as incredible as Philip Rivers playing in a torn ACL.
Uh, yeah, that is pretty and that's pretty
I'd say
brave,
that's
I
one of the
guess.
craziest injury feats, I guess.
Hmm. Oh, the teams on a bye this week were the Jets, Falcons, 49ers, and Saints. So
Touch on the Saints, they're getting three people back from injured reserve within the next week or so, probably.
is what's his face? The wide receiver.
Thomas is not one of them.
Uh, Is he
They're
even
getting Marcus Davenport, Kwan Alexander, and Traquan Smith.
is he even gonna play this season?
I read somewhere that they think within a week or two he'd be back. So I'd imagine maybe next week they take him off the IR and
Mm-hmm.
designate him to return.
Well,
I'd expect this month, the month of November, probably coming up, he'd be back. Maybe even last week. Maybe within a week or two.
we all hope for a safe return and for him to be good.
Hmm.
He hasn't looked okay in the last couple of years too.
No, he had that 1 year though where he had the reception record.
Yeah, that
I
was
think it was 2 years ago.
that was like 3 years ago.
Dang.
I'm almost positive it was like 3 years ago.
No, you're probably right. It's been a while, I bet.
All right, and then we'll cap this off with a little preview of Thursday's game, or for Thursday's game. You have the Denver Broncos going into Cleveland. Um, I don't know how I feel about this game. So obviously the Browns won't have Kareem Hunt or Nick Chubb. Baker Mayfield will be playing most likely, but he will be playing hurt. And that Browns defense has been getting smacked around the last couple of weeks, so it'll be interesting to see what we can do um, as a team for the Denver Broncos to go on the road and put up so many points against these Cleveland Browns. And then for the secondary to actually play like they are worthy of their paychecks. Denver spent the most money in their secondary this offseason in the NFL, so and for them not to be showing up is frustrating.
I'd uh I'd honestly say that this should be a favorable game for Denver. I think, in my personal opinion, Cleveland excels when they have their running backs going good. With both of them not playing and Baker playing injured, and I'd argue Vaughn being decently on pace this year for a good season, I'd expect, a decent amount of pass rush, especially after what he said too.
Yeah,
I expect Vaughn to almost single-handedly
I'm
shut down their
expecting a,
offense.
a pissed off Broncos defense, and they will win this game for Alexander Johnson. There we go. That's the story.
Also, as long as I think it also comes down to the other side is Teddy's gotta be conservative. He's gotta minimize his mistakes. But I expect Denver to win this, honestly, relatively by a decent amount.
Well, we'll hope putting out some good karma out there. This is fourth straight week I'm picking the Broncos to win. Hopefully it, works out for me. All right. Anything else to say, Mason, before we wrap this up?
Nope, it's good.
All right. He says nope. I'm saying no, we're okay. We will see you guys on Friday to recap Thursday night football and go over Sunday's games. Either Friday or Saturday. I think it's Friday. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Most likely Friday. All right, guys. We'll see you. Goodbye.